Welcome back, Hawks fans. This is your boy Bryce Lewis back again. It's been a while, but we're back again with the Atlanta Hawks fan show. We have very special guest Malik Brown on with us, contributor for Peachtree Hoops, back again. How are you, Malik? Welcome to have you back on the show.
Man, I'm glad to be back, man. I see you've been grinding, doing your thing with this podcast, man. This is great. So anytime I can come on and chop it up with some Hawks, about some Hawks with you, man, I'm down. I'm always down.
Yes, sir. You know, hey, man, it's playoff time, so you gotta get excited and everything. But I appreciate you, man. Trying to do what I can out here to establish myself. But let's go ahead and get into it, man. So obviously the Hawks came off a very thrilling victory last night. Wasn't the prettiest game, but they grinded and they came through. Trae Young had a big second half, 32 in the second half. Now they moved past Cleveland. Now they move to Miami, going to South Beach. It's not the worst place to cover a playoff series, but we're going to South Beach.
Right. And
initial, thoughts. A lot of people are saying if the Hawks got in, they're a team that obviously is dangerous. Trae, guys like that. I know they're dealing with some injuries right now. What are your initial thoughts on the series when it was first basically official after the Hawks won last night?
Man, I mean, and I was telling my friend this, I was like, after watching the game last night and you go into this series, it's kind of like, I mean, it's like anything can happen, but at the same time, it's kind of like, the Hawks still got a tough hill to climb. I mean, Capella goes out, like literally your defensive anchor goes out before halftime, and it looks like, you don't know when he's coming back. So he was a big component, definitely. Then, you don't know if Collins is coming back anytime. So it looks like he could be returning. So that's already your front court, your starting front court is out. And I mean, I feel like Trae kind of needs those guys. I mean, of course, we've seen that Trae can do it by himself. I mean, he did it last night. But at the same time, it's like, if you want a chance against a 1 seed, against a team like Miami, you want to be healthy. You want to be healthy going into this first round. So first initial thoughts was, I mean, not being healthy, I mean, it's going to suck. But like I told you, like we were talking earlier, anything is possible with Trae Young. Like Trae Young is, I think, the best player in a Miami versus Atlanta series. And that's kind of really sometimes all you need is the best player. We saw it against the Cavs. He literally masterclass in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can have the best player on the floor, anything can happen. I mean, he could steal you. He could literally steal you a game. He literally steal you a game in Miami. I mean, they've shown you numerous times that they can win on the road, no matter the circumstances. And I mean, you still got to look at the guys that they have that are healthy. I mean, Bogey's been playing better as of late. DeLon Wright, amazing.
Mm-hmm.
He was another key part of them winning against the Cavs. Of course, you got Kevin being steady. Okongwu, of course. So these guys know what it takes. They've been in these situations before. But initial thoughts, you want to be healthy. But like I said, anything can happen.
Yes, and I think the health's a big thing. Now with Clint going out last night, obviously initial X-rays doesn't show any significant damage, but we'll know after the MRIs today. This is a big opportunity for Okongwu. This is a guy people have been banging the table thinking you draft him, he's a center, he's the guy to replace Clint. That's why I think some people were surprised by the extension Clint Capella got this last offseason, because basically his contract's up when Okongwu's contract's up. So, and now he's going to be the starting center. What are your expectations for Okongwu in this series? Miami's not a particularly big team, so it's not going to be like he's facing a lot of size. So do you expect Onyeka, because we've seen Onyeka have very efficient 10-10, 12-12 games, are you expecting that out of Onyeka? Or what are you wanting to see from him in this series against the Heat, replacing Clint Capella?
Yeah, I think he can get you that double-double, that 10-10. I mean, one thing that really kind of hurts me with Onyeka is he still gets in a lot of foul trouble. He's still kind of reckless. Like, I mean, he's a second-year player, he has a lot of energy, but he has to find out, he has to pick his spots on defense. He has to realize, maybe I shouldn't go for this block. I remember it was a block I think Okoro had got to the guy in the back, and he dunked, and the Congress just tried to go over there and tried to block. I was like, bro, like, let's let it go, just go on to the next play. But he wants to be active in every play. He wants to be active, and I respect it. But at some time, and especially a team like Miami, who will bait you into getting fouls and things like that, you have to play steady, play safe, not be reckless. But we've seen when Onyeka's on the floor, he can kind of guard perimeter players. And I'm not saying Capella can't, but Okongwu he's kind of more swift. I trust him on the perimeter, guarding a perimeter player. So that's definitely a plus when you have him in the lineup. But like I said, on defense, he's still kind of reckless. But if he can just play his game, stay in his lane, I think he'll be good.
Yes, sir. I think too, like I said, Onyeka has showed us, when he does play discipline, he can still be a really good defender. I think people have seen all NBA defensive potential from him. So what we're needing him is to play smarter, but also still play well enough to, basically almost like DeLon Wright played last night, aggressive but not foul. And I think that's what the Hawks are going to need. Mm-hmm. So now speaking about, Collins and Capella being out, right now, it looks like if you look at it right now, the Hawks probably have to go as deep from who they're playing as about eight people, right? Probably Bogey coming off the bench, DeLon, and then it looks like Gorgui Dieng's going to get minutes, I'm assuming, and then, TLC kind of spells whenever. So that's about 9. Do you think Nate needs to look into potentially going deeper into the bench at all in this series because of the injuries, just because you got basically TLC filling in for the 3 and 4, and then you got Dieng filling up for the center. You don't really have a power forward. I mean, you do, but we assume he's not going to play Jalen Johnson. So, do you think he should consider it, or are you feeling like, hey, this is playoffs, got to go with the guys you trust? Everything else, like, listen, if other people get in foul trouble, get hurt, then okay. But
I think game 1 you can kind of dabble in it a little bit, see what you got with the other guys deeper in the bench. I don't think Jalen is going to play at all. But I think what we've seen from Nate this whole season, last season, like, he's going to stick with the guys that he always trusts. He's going to always stick with the guys. So, with Collins and Capella out, of course, you're going to insert Onyeka in the lineup. And then, like you said, the bench is going to be Bogey, it's going to be DeLon, and it's probably most likely going to be Gorgui. I don't think. Lou might see a few minutes. I'm pretty sure TLC will see minutes as well. I trust TLC having more minutes than Lou. Just because of his size, but yeah, I think we've seen from Nate, like, he's gonna stick with what he knows, and he got a lot of flack for it. I can't lie, he got a lot of flack for that during this season. Mm-hmm. But when it mattered the most, the guys that he trusts, they came up big for him, and I think he's gonna stick with them throughout this playoffs.
Yeah, and listen, people say Nate can be loyal to a fault, but that's Nate. They say sometimes it's a bit of that old school mentality, but listen, we're here, and so we can't say he hasn't got us to the playoffs 2 years in a row. So got that, he can say that. So my next question for you is: so looking at this Hawks Heat series, who is the X factor for the Hawks you think of this series, where if they play well, they have a really good chance of being able to upset the Miami Heat in the first round?
It's always going to be DeAndre Hunter for me. Always. I think DeAndre Hunter can literally swing a series. Like, of course we know that Trey can do that because, of his offensive firepower. But Dre can make that legit. Like, we saw against the Hornets, he didn't have a good first half. But the second half, he was aggressive. He was hitting his shots. He was playing great. He's still playing great defense, in my opinion. He did a great job on Miles Bridges. So we know what you're going to get from Dre on defense. It's the offensive side of the ball where things kind of get rocky at times. And you saw against the Cavs, he did not have a great offensive game at all. Did not play great on offense as well. But I mean, everybody expects him to be like that second guy. You feel me? Like we've been waiting for this since last season. So if he plays like he played in the second half against the Hornets, I think he can literally swing a series. Not by himself. Like I said, they got Trey, but he is that second guy that you expect to go off, because I mean he has the defensive things. He can do things on offense as well at times. Like, can get to the rim, he can hit shots. So I definitely think Dre is going to be the X factor in this series. Like, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's interesting. DeAndre just has these great stretches, then he just has terrible stretches, and it's very frustrating as a fan. And I'm sure, obviously, with the contract looming this offseason, it's like, is Travis really going to pay him? Like, that's going to be the biggest question going into the offseason. Is Travis really going to pay DeAndre Hunter after all the inconsistency that he's seen this year? Especially because technically we traded Cam, so we said we're picking DeAndre over Cam, and if you end up not paying DeAndre, the two guys that you thought had potential, they're not even on the team next year.
Exactly.
So that wouldn't be the greatest look. And I just will have one quick question for you. Obviously, we've been hearing reports John Collins is doing some 4-on-4. He's working his way back. People are wondering if he will make it back for the series. I said I don't think he'll make it back in Miami. I think Game 3 in Atlanta, maybe when you start hearing more of that. Do you expect John Collins back this series? And if he is back, what do you expect his impact to be?
Yeah, I think he'll definitely be back. I mean, I thought he was going to be back in one of the playing games, honestly. Like, because I mean, like you said, they were saying he was playing 4-on-4. And I mean, I think his foot is fine. Like his foot is good, but it's his finger that's still bothering him. I heard he can't grip a basket. He can't really grip the basketball. But because I think Game 3 is on Friday. That's a whole week to get rested and everything like that. But I mean, if he comes back, you kind of need him out there, of course, for defense. Definitely need him out there to get some rebounds and everything like that. I'm not sure how he'll be on offense. That's really a point where I'm like, I'm not sure, because I know there was some video out there. I know Chris got some video out there, and he was shooting in, but he wasn't really making them. And when you in warm-ups and everything, you're supposed to be automatic. Nobody guarding you, but it kind of seems like the finger thing is still bothering him. So I don't know how he'll be on offense, but on defense, I think you kind of need him on defense. Need him to get those rebounds. Like, I mean, Miami's not the tall team like Cleveland was. So I mean, you kind of can get away with maybe Gallo on the block or an Okongwu, a small center on the block. But having an extra, defender, rebounder, would be good. So I think that's where he'll probably put his focus on first if he can't really get it going offensively.
Yeah, and I think, especially like I said, especially if Clint doesn't come back this series, it's going to be big just to get Collins back, just to, also just be another guy in there to fight down there in the boards and then just compete. Right. And that'll be just big against Miami in general. But I think that's about it here. I appreciate you, Malik, for coming on to the show, sir. Love having you back on Talking Some Hawks Basketball. Let everybody know where they can find you.
Anytime, man. Thank you for having me on. You guys can follow me as always on Twitter and Instagram @_MalikATL. Make sure you check out the great content that we have over at Peachtree Hoops. You can find us on Twitter @Peachtree Hoops. And also do some work at Rolling Out. So, guys, just support my guy Bryce. He's doing a great job, with this podcast. So, continue to keep going, bro. And thank you again for letting me come on.
Yeah, man, definitely love always having you on. But that's it, Hawks fans. We'll see you next time, hopefully talking about another Hawks series victory.
To host a fan show or appear as a fan on a fan show, create a profile in Fan Media Network. Then look for the news page in our website and fan show resources page. Help yourself. We give show hosts a show graphic in team colors, a simple short show format, tips on pre- and post-production, ideas to get fans and guests on your show, Apple News distribution and show sponsorship sales and services to help featured show hosts earn money. Show hosts use our iPhone app to publish their shows. Our website supports Android users.